Brody hadn't expected his salvage run to the Kepler 442 system to end with him committing interstellar treason. But here he was, cradling to crystalline eggs in his cargo bay while a fleet of Draconian warships lit up his sensors like a supernova. The eggs pulsed with bioluminescent patterns, soft blues and violets that seemed almost alive. Brody had found them in the wreckage of a destroyed research station, abandoned and dimming. Their heat signatures were failing. Any decent human being would have done the same thing he did. Any decent human being would also be having serious second thoughts right about now. Come on, baby, just a little further, Brody muttered to his ship, the Wandering Star, as she groaned under the stress of maximum burn. The Draconian cruisers were gaining, their weapons raised, charging with that distinctive crimson glow. That meant someone was about to have a very bad day. Humans weren't supposed to interfere with Draconian affairs. The treaty was clear. The Draconians, 12-foot-tall reptilian beings with scales like living metal and enough firepower to glass a planet, had made it abundantly clear that their species' reproduction was sacred, untouchable, off-limits to all lesser races. Brody had broken that cardinal rule the moment he'd picked up those eggs. His comm crackled. Human vessel, return the royal offspring immediately or be eliminated. Royal? Brody's stomach dropped. He glanced back at the eggs, which seemed to pulse brighter, as if aware of the danger. Of course they're royal, he groaned. Because my luck is just that good. The Wandering Star shuddered as a warning shot blazed past the starboard bow. Brody's fingers danced across the controls, pushing his ship into a desperate spiral toward the nearby asteroid field. If he could just lose them in the rocks. Another voice cut through the comm, deeper and resonant with authority that seemed to vibrate through the ship's hull. Human, I am Sovereign Vexthar, King of the Draconian Imperium. You hold my heirs. Surrender them unharmed, and your death will be swift. Yeah, that's not the sales pitch you think it is, Brody shouted back, yanking the controls hard left as his ship dove between two massive asteroids. They were dying. He continued, his voice cracking with genuine anger. Your research station was destroyed. They were alone. Their temperature was dropping. And not a single one of your ships came back for them. I wasn't going to let them die. Silence. The pursuing ships held their fire, though they continued their pursuit. You preserved them? The Dragon King's voice carried something new. Confusion, perhaps. Or disbelief. Yes. I jerry-rigged an incubation chamber in my cargo bay. Had to cannibalize my life support systems to keep their environment stable. Do you have any idea how specific your species' egg requirements are? I've been running on recycled air for 6 hours. Brody's ship burst through the asteroid field into open space. He'd gained maybe 30 seconds. His eyes darted to the navigation console, calculating jumps, knowing none of them would work. The Draconian ships were too fast, too numerous. The eggs pulsed again, stronger now. Through the cargo bay camera, Brody saw something that made his heart skip. Cracks, fine fractures spreading across both crystalline surfaces. Oh no, 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 not now, he whispered, abandoning the controls and running to the cargo bay. The Draconian fleet surrounded the Wandering Star, weapons locked. Brody didn't care. He dropped to his knees beside the makeshift incubator, adjusting temperature controls with shaking hands. Come on, little ones. You're so close. Just a little longer. The first egg shattered in a cascade of crystalline fragments. A small Draconian hatchling emerged, no bigger than a house cat, its scales a brilliant silver that reflected the bay's emergency lighting. It looked up at Brody with eyes like molten gold and chirped an impossibly delicate sound. From a creature whose species was known for bringing civilizations to their knees. The second egg followed moments later. This hatchling's scales were deep violet, and it stumbled on unsteady legs directly into Brody's outstretched hands. Hey there, Brody whispered, tears streaming down his face. Welcome to the universe. Sorry it's a little scary right now. The cargo bay door exploded inward. Brody threw himself over the hatchlings, expecting weapons fire, expecting death. Instead, he heard the heavy footfalls of Draconian warriors. Then a sound he'd never heard before, a Draconian dropping to their knees. He looked up. Sovereign Vexthar stood in the ruined doorway, his massive form filling the space. His scales were darker than obsidian, etched with golden patterns that marked him as royalty. But his eyes, those ancient, reptilian eyes, were fixed on the hatchlings in Brody's arms. "You sacrificed your life support," the Dragon King said softly, "for children not your own. They were innocent," Brody replied, his voice steady despite his fear. "That's all that mattered." Vexthar moved forward with surprising gentleness. The silver hatchling chirped and reached toward him. The Dragon King's expression of such a thing could be read on a face. So alien shifted into something profound. "In 3,000 years of draconian history," Vexthar said, "not one allied species has shown such regard for our young. Most fear us. Some hate us. None would risk their lives for our offspring." He extended a massive clawed hand toward Brody. "The Imperium owes you a debt that cannot be measured in wealth or territory." Brody blinked. I just did what anyone should do. No, human. You did what only your kind would do." Vexthar's voice carried weight that seemed to echo through the ship. "From this moment, humanity is not merely tolerated in draconian space. You are kin, blood bonded. Any who threaten your people threaten the Imperium itself." The violet hatchling climbed onto Brody's shoulder, nuzzling against his neck with a contented rumble. Vexthar's expression might have been a smile. "It seems my daughter has already chosen her guardian. Will you accept the honor, Brody of Earth?" Brody looked at the tiny creature on his shoulder, then at the massive fleet surrounding his ship, then back at the Dragon King. "Yes, good," Vexthar rumbled. "You have much to learn about raising royal draconians, and humanity has much to teach us about compassion." As Brody was escorted aboard the flagship, the wandering star towed safely behind. He realized that saving the hatchlings hadn't just changed his life. It had changed the fate of his entire species, and somehow that felt exactly right.